Okay, folks, it's time to talk about Moon Knight. Moon Knight is the latest offering from Disney Plus on its Marvel Cinematic Universe portion, and it is excellent. It is a great series, and I'm going to be dropping some spoilers for Moon Knight as we go, so I really want you to see this if you haven't seen this already. If you have not seen this, go ahead and bookmark or save this video somewhere and come back to it after you've watched the series. It's really worth seeing without spoilers. So it'll take you about 5 hours to get through the whole thing. It's well worth it. Go do it, and then come back here. I'll give you a little spoiler countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're going forward with spoilers. So, Moon Knight is focused on Oscar Isaac's character, Mark Spector, who also has an alternate personality, Stephen Grant. And Stephen Grant is a museum shop curator, and Mark Spector is a mercenary. Now, Stephen Grant is who we start off with, and we learn later on in the series that he has this alternate ID of Mark Spector, and Mark Spector has an ex-wife whose name is Layla El-Faouly. Except in the comic book, if you look, there's a couple of major differences here. Now, one of the minor major differences is the fact that Stephen Grant in the comic is a multimillionaire. I mean, that's actually a pretty wide chasm. But at the same time, it doesn't really make that much difference because just from the fact that Stephen Grant has been relegated to this particular civilian role, that you're not watching the same thing as the comics. And honestly, I gotta say that everything that the series does really improves upon the comic idea. I mean, it's not like you're going to go read the comics and you're going to find something better. Moon Knight is a good adaptation. Very, very good. It's amazing how these people can be so creative in their adaptations of the comic books. I mean, well, just think back to the original Iron Man movie. And again, spoiler, if you haven't seen that, please do go see that. I can't believe you've missed the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe up to this point. But when Tony Stark just basically reveals to the press, I am Iron Man, that was just a brilliant move. They just decided to forego the whole Iron Man is my bodyguard kind of thing that the comic books went through for years. And I just love the fact that sometimes Marvel really hits it on the nose as far as the ways you should deviate. But one of the ways that Moon Knight deviates from the original comics was just really inexplicable to me until the very last episode of Moon Knight. And it has to do with Mark Spector's ex-wife's name. Now, in the comics, they're a romantic couple, but they were never actually married. In the series, they're divorcees. But Layla Al-Faouly in the comics is named Marlene Fontaine, and she's a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white girl in the comics, but big deal. We've all seen Hamilton. We don't care if there's this ethnicity swapping. Sometimes we've even seen gender swapping in some of these Marvel roles, I think. It doesn't, we actually have, because Ajax of the Eternals, she was originally a dude. So, with regard to this character, Layla Al-Faouly, who has replaced Marlene Fontaine, but still is based on that character because, like Marlene Fontaine, she has an archaeologist father who was killed by the same group of mercenaries that Mark Spector belonged to, and this precipitated his becoming Moon Knight. It's like, why didn't they just keep the name? I mean, understandably, okay, maybe they decided that they were going to make her Egyptian rather than a white girl, but at the same time, who cares? But why not keep the name? I mean, seriously, when you have things that are adapted from the comics, these are things that really bother me. Like, for example, you've got in the Spider-Man series with Tom Holland, MJ's character, her first name is Michelle. So it's like she's not even Mary Jane, but she's MJ. Okay, well, why didn't you just make her Mary Jane? What difference does that make? I don't understand why they have to do these little changes that when you know that the people that they're based on are the almost easily recognizable characters from before. Even though, of course, Zendaya is not, the redhead white girl that Mary Jane Watson is in the comics. That was more that was more accurately, from a biological standpoint, portrayed by Kirsten Dunst, who I don't know if she's a redhead either. So of course, there's hair coloring involved. There's always some kind of mix and match that goes on when it comes to trying to get people to fit the roles. But the name thing just bothered me. And I couldn't understand why it was that they didn't just keep the name Marlene, even if it was Marlene El-Faouly. Just give us that one little hook to all us people who are reading the comic books, who are fans of the comic books, and who needed to understand that, yes, this is the person who is filling the same role. And what happens in the 6th and final episode of Moon Knight really reveals it all. And it reveals it all in the most cringy of ways. When Layla Al-Faouly is saving Mark Spector, she basically takes on even as he has the role of being the avatar of Khonshu, there is another Egyptian goddess, Taweret, whom she becomes the avatar of. And she takes on the aspect of a Marvel character who is called the Scarlet Scarab, even though I don't think that name is going to necessarily be applied. It's never mentioned in this particular Moon Knight series, so who knows if that's actually even going to happen again. But the fact that she's got these Scarlet Scarab powers and stuff, that basically turns her into a superhero. Okay, and then when she saves a small child from a car that's about to fall on her or something, all of a sudden this small child looks up at her and says, "Are you an Egyptian superhero?" And I almost vomited. I gotta say, that was the one moment of Moon Knight that was just so bloody cringe. It was as cringe as, if anybody remembers Endgame, and this is only a minor kind of point if you haven't seen that, but again, go back and watch these things. What's wrong with you? In Endgame, there's a girl power moment where you have a whole bunch of female superheroes who take the lead and take charge, and they're the ones in the fight, in the big battle, and you see all of these female superheroes, and it's girl power, girl, and it's just so cringe. It's so freaking cringe, and this was another one of those kinds of moments, because you not only is it just so pandery in that moment, but now I realize why it is they changed her name to Layla Al-Faouly. It was to basically make the character completely Egyptian in all possible ways. They wanted to make sure that her name was something that could be recognizably Egyptian, as opposed to Marlene, and especially Marlene Fontaine. Now, do I mind that they made this change? No, not at all. I mean, I understand that there is this idea of, okay, well, if we have the opportunity to give representation to an underrepresented ethnicity when it comes to superheroing, well, let's go ahead and do that. And, that's an opportunity that I think they really should have taken advantage of. I like the fact that they thought outside the box and said, we're going to do this, even though it's a little more of a break from the original pattern, but we've broken from it from big ways, millionaire to museum shop curator, we have room to breathe. So I don't disagree with their doing it. It's just, why do you have to make it so blatantly cringe when you do it? I mean, whether it's the Endgame scene or whether it's this scene, you don't have to hit people over the head with it. It's almost like, do we get points? Did we please you? Did we cater to your sensibilities? I want less of that in my entertainment. I want less of the idea that, oh, look at me, I'm fulfilling this demographic. I mean, don't we get enough of that in politics? Don't we get enough of that with the first black woman president? That Joe Biden specifically said he was going to be choosing for a vagina. Don't we get enough of that with the first black woman on the Supreme Court, where he basically said, I'm picking her for race and vagina? I mean, it's sad. It's sad that this has to spill over into our entertainment as well. But when it does, and it inevitably will, can you please not make it so cringily obvious? I mean, these are great writers. Moon Knight, full of great writing, fantastic writing. And I want to go back and watch some of the scenes now, because I'm just remembering just little elements that they did that were just so on point. And to get to see those things again would be awesome. I mean, the 6th episode is just a tour de force. And let me tell you, I mean, season 2, we have never deserved season 2 of any of the Marvel series more. I could give a crap if they ever come out with a Loki season 2, that freaking garbage show. I don't care if they do another Falcon and the Winter Soldier show. I don't care if they do another WandaVision. I need another season of Moon Knight. That show has so much potential and has been so well done. I can't wait to see where they take it next. As far as I know, Oscar Isaac has said that they don't have plans for a season 2 as yet. They need to have plans for that because it is so tremendous. Do go watch it. I hope that you have already watched it by the time you've gotten to this point. I'm going to cut it off now so that, you've got some catching up to do if you haven't seen all this Marvel stuff. I know they're saying boycott Disney, but I'm just like, if there's good stuff, watch the good stuff. Stop depriving yourself of all of these, wonderful entertainment moments because, there's just some political agenda that's just gnawing at you. I mean, I don't even mind this whole Egyptian pandering thing. I think it's fine. I think, I give kudos to the writers. I mean, Marlene Fontaine in the comics was never really that interesting a character to begin with. So I think in taking her and making her into this Layla El-Faouly character who can give some representation in the Marvel superhero community, and to be a better and more independent and more parallel character with Moon Knight in her own right, I think they've done a great job. And so hats off to the writers, hats off to everyone involved, including Oscar Isaac. He's amazing in this, and I've just got nothing better to say than that. Go watch it. I'm Mike Partika. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, please do subscribe so that you can get notified of the next videos, and I will talk to you later.